Hey guys, welcome back to our YouTube channel. We're glad that you're joining us today. I am interviewing again because Bruce has created a brand new program and I'm excited to hear about it, but I have not dug into it yet. So I get to interview him today just like if it was you, because I have no idea what he's created. All the creative little juices in his brain have been busy the last little while, and so he's put something together. So it's called Leadership Management Development Program, specific in the construction industry.
Absolutely, yeah.
And Bruce, tell us more about it. I'm excited.
Well, Jen, thanks. It's been a little bit of a pet peeve of mine over the last 2 years, not necessarily because of the construction industry, but because of two important things that are happening that are not necessarily positive. The first is, even though this is a big focus on the construction industry, people are promoted because they were great technically. But when they're promoted into a leadership or a management role, and they are different, that leadership and management, which we won't get into now, but they are promoted into these roles and they're not ready and they're failing. Not only does that destroy talent in business, it's highly impactful to business as a whole.
Right.
Your leaders are incredibly important positions. The second reason is that the way we train in industry, period, I believe is flawed. And it's very one-dimensional. We need to change that. And this program that we've put together in workplaces is focused on flipping the narrative, changing the way we deliver information and the way that people process or interpret information. So the training is not just, oh, he went on a training course and has come back and that's the last thing you hear of it. It's not implemented in the business effectively. And this leadership management development program construction series is focused on making sure that both those two needs are dealt with and we solve them very quickly and we show people results of training at the end of the day.
Okay. So coming from construction background myself,
Right.
and that all sounds amazing.
Right.
Because you're right. Most construction companies start because the owner is like, well, I can do it better. Right? Solopreneurs,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
But they don't necessarily know how to lead or guide a team or develop anybody because they're just like, I'm tired of the constraints that I'm in being an employee in the construction industry in Alberta.
Yeah.
I'm sure it happens all over North America, though. It's not just local here.
Yeah.
But I can see that it's a required and needed thing. So talk us through what the outcomes, like what's somebody coming away from the course with?
Right. Well, just before I say that, I just want to step back a little. Something you said that was important in the beginning. It's definitely for business owners that come from their corporate or employee life, and they're moving into starting their own business, et cetera, et cetera. But within most construction companies, especially startups, their scale up is very quick.
Right.
Right. And that the pace in which they move in terms of scale up is very quick as well. And they need to hire people. So they'll hire journeymen, they'll hire certain people that have the qualifications, site supers, foremen, whatever the case may be. But the unfortunate part is that those people that they're hiring or those people that they're promoting within the business maybe 2 years later are great technicians. And that's the premise of them being selected or promoted into those roles. And that creates a crisis within the business.
When we're talking about making a decision on how to move somebody in the business,
Yes.
I'm thinking in my head going, okay, I have somebody that's doing a great job. I love what they produce. They're bringing the company revenue. They're doing an awesome job. I want them to create another them. So I'm going to put them in a leadership position. But what I'm hearing from you is that's kind of a flawed way of thinking.
Very.
So how would I even go about, and is that something in this program of like figuring out if or when or should I post for this position and hire outside versus building somebody up from inside?
It's an interesting question because the first answer is no. This program is not designed to give people the opportunity to decide, maybe he's good for or she's good for a leadership role. This is for existing people that have been promoted and are finding that, okay, I need to learn a lot more than what I know at the moment. The interesting part is that you gave it away. Of course, we have a second program coming up that is
Good.
actually designed for people that are going through the ranks and are about to be promoted into leadership roles. So we prepare them for that, and then this program becomes
Okay.
their best friend.
So this program is for the people that are already in the position and they're drowning.
Absolutely,
Okay.
yeah.
Good.
It's about, probably a lot of them have heard, it's not about working harder, it's about working smarter.
Okay.
And there are a lot of site supers, a lot of foremen out there that are working exceptionally hard, and in my opinion, too hard.
Okay.
They don't need to be doing that to themselves. So there are much more smarter ways to actually get things done. This is what this program is there for.
So it's going to help people with like burnout, overwhelm, exhaustion, mental health, all of those
Absolutely.
things to get the company working effectively
Yeah.
instead of just being in the burnout hustle.
100%. Yeah.
Okay.
You've got to get, a primary, and we're not going to go necessarily deep into each module and what that module consists of, but the point of your question was the outcome of this. And definitely, when it comes to burnout, when it comes to the leadership stuff, when it comes to the management stuff, what is the difference between actually leading and actually managing? Most people right now try to manage, and management is more the technical side of things. It's the coordinating of resources, human and material, trying to pull all those together so the job can be completed on time and on budget,
Okay.
right? The leadership component is, it's driving people to do the best that they can do, creating value out of the people that report to you. So before you were promoted into a leadership role, you produced value through yourself individually, and we call that an individual contributor in business. But when people are promoted into a new role, a leadership role or a management role, they're now pretty much plunk in the deep end.
Right.
And now they have to start producing value through others. And that is incredibly difficult to do if you don't know how to do that. So they get into situations where, well, you know what, Bruce can't do this, so I may as well just do it myself. It's going to take me just as long, if not longer, to try and explain to Bruce what to do than me just doing it myself.
It's funny. I think one of our clients said that to you this week.
Right. Exactly. And what's missing are the core fundamentals of the skill sets, the modules that we present in this leadership program. The other outcome, and this is going to sound a little trivial, but the other outcome of this program is it actually sticks. It actually makes a difference. So the very core components of this program are measured from day one when people start the training program. But earlier on, I said one of the fundamental flaws of training generally is it's very one-dimensional, meaning you'll go into a classroom, so the trainer will download or facilitate, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's a critical part of training and learning. But once they're done, as trainers or facilitators, we hope that they will take that information or those new tools or whatever they learned and apply it in the field. And most of the time, I'm saying 9 out of 10 times, it's not the case. And it's a complete waste, not only of time, which is money, as we know, but of the money invested into that training. And businesses, especially small businesses, don't have loads of cash to spend on training only for it not to work. A client the other day saying, well, I sent my guy on site super training with this company. And I asked him, I said, tell me, Mansoor, did it work? He says, well, it's a little bit too early right now to determine that. This was about 2 months ago, right? I met him this week and asked him the same question. He says, well, we'll see. I'm just not seeing anything yet. And I didn't say anything, but that's typically how it goes. And I know where this is going to go to, right?
Right.
And so the second dimension of learning and knowledge retention is actually ensuring that it's applied in the field. And the third component of that or dimension of that is accountability. So what we do in this structure, it's approximately 12 weeks that we go through it. Now people
so
are
it's
saying,
intensive.
It's intensive.
Yeah.
And people are saying very similar to our discussion we had in the last recording about hiring. Oh my gosh, that's so much time and blah, 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 blah. It's actually not. It's
Because it
more
takes that long to integrate things.
exactly.
Right.
So what we typically do is we have the first week and the second week. So we work in these little pods, right? The first week, first day, we have 3 to 4 hours of training, sometimes less depending on what the company requires. So we have that 3-hour sprint today. They take the rest of the week to go and apply it. So there's an actual assignment that they have to go and do in the field. Sometimes it takes another week for them to do that. So it doesn't have to happen the next week. But they take the time, whether it's the rest of this week or an additional few days the next week, and then they come back to what we call as the mastermind. Why mastermind is so critical? 2 reasons. One, there's accountability not just from the trainer's standpoint, there's accountability from peers.
Yeah.
And peer group pressure is a wonderful thing a lot of the times.
Yes, especially in construction.
Exactly. So they get to share what they've done, not just what they've achieved, but also struggles, challenges. And they are shared challenges. People learn from each other. And when they get back in the field, they have an opportunity to actually work with each other.
And support each other.
And
So if
support
somebody
each other.
succeeded at something, I'm sure they can like build them. Oh, this is where you're struggling this
Yeah.
week. I'll help you there because I
100%.
didn't have an issue.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
So it really galvanizes that, okay, we're doing this. This is what we're going to do. The third advantage to it is that they align. And why this is so important, especially for our viewers that not necessarily or don't necessarily understand cultural dynamics in a business. If your leaders don't speak the same language and they don't do the same thing, repeatability, consistency, your employees lose faith.
Yeah.
The managers, the leaders become inconsistent with how they do things. So it gives them an opportunity to say, okay, Bruce or Jen taught us this, but we find that this works a little bit better if we do it this way. Fantastic. Are we going to do that as a group of leaders and managers? Are we going to do that now going out into the field? That'll be our company's way of doing it. So now they've adopted it.
Right. And they've made it their own in their own language instead of it being like, Bruce and Jen taught us that thing and they're over there, but we're over here doing our own thing.
Yeah.
And it's like the bridge isn't connecting,
Huge,
right?
huge, absolutely. And the last thing I'll say about just the infrastructure and tools is that they get very, very good information prior to starting and during the training, where they get to understand what drives them, what their strengths and their natural strengths are, but also understanding how their leadership currently is impacting the people that they lead, that they manage, right? And that data follows them throughout the entire program. So there's the customized development program for them individually, just as much as it is as a group of leaders and managers training. And the cool part, just because I'm a techie, the cool part is that they have a companion leadership application that they take into the field with them. And all the tools that support their assignments are worked on this application. And the cool part, even better part, is that their managers or the business owner or the leader of these managers and leaders have a view of all the data that's coming in, the actual stuff that they're doing in the field. So there's a great opportunity to sync up back with their supervisors to say, this is what I'm learning, this is what I've achieved, and this is what we're talking together as a group of managers, a group of foremen or site supers in the field. So it's incredibly intensive, but very, very effective.
So what I'm hearing that seems really powerful to me. So we do a training, we do a mastermind, and then we go back to training for 12 weeks. That's the system.
You bet.
Okay. And then we have this tracking mechanism that they have to be using for their leadership. So the leaders of the leaders have transparency.
Absolutely.
Which is huge. There's trackability, KPIs. We know every single week what's working and what isn't. So then the leader would know, or the owner would know, if what I'm investing in is actually useful.
Huge.
That to me is like, drop the mic, walk away, right?
Absolutely.
Because then the client that you talked about,
Yeah.
that's like, well, I don't know, I sent them on this training and 2 months, 4 months later, I don't know, nothing yet, right? So from the very first week, you're knowing what's happening and what isn't.
And to top it off, we've got a before and after. I've always said to my clients, I'd love to give you have you a before picture and an after picture to show you how you've grown, show you what things have changed, right? We put our money where our mouth is in this program. The assessments that started off with all the data about each individual continues afterwards. So we continue for the next 3 to 6 months, we continue to measure to see how things have actually changed. And it's not just the change of saying, oh, he's become so much more effective as a leader or as a manager. It's actually bottom line impact. So we look at things like in the construction industry, we look at things like, any profitability impact or gross profitability impact, material usage, labor usage, all that type of stuff. And we use those, we talk about KPIs, we use those KPIs to do a before and an after. So we can actually hold ourselves accountable to how the training is actually impacted a couple of months later.
So I know in previous recordings, I've called you full of crap.
Yes.
So in this circumstance, I'm going, wow, I can't say you're full of crap because you're actually tracking and telling me every step of the way what is or is not working and why.
Absolutely.
Because it's there plain as day.
Yeah.
Now, what if a customer or a client doesn't have a system to track their profitability or doesn't have a system to, view against? Some of our clients are smaller that would need something like this.
Yeah.
But don't necessarily have the system and the structure set up in their own business to capture that data.
Yeah.
So what would you do in that circumstance?
Right. Well, Jen, great upselling, I have to admit.
I'm just asking questions, man.
No, it's really good. But yeah, we are, as a lot of people that know who we are, we're a very broad provider of business service and business improvement. It's there when someone says, hey, I like your leadership program. Hey, I think we could really benefit from the program, but we don't have this in order to track. We will make every effort to make sure that they have something at least to track the basics so they can do a before and an after.
Okay.
Right. It's something that we do, as you and I both know. It's something we do. We build very intensive systems that help a business measure its output and its results. But in terms of making sure that they get full benefit from this program, we will ensure that they have something to start measuring.
So if this is what the owner or the decision maker has identified as what they want to work on, we'll still work with them.
Yes.
But it might be advisable to be like, hey, we'll start that in 2 months. Let's get this sorted out, which we can do as well, obviously.
Absolutely.
But we can create something that makes it functional for them to track and get that same certainty in it as well.
Yeah. Like most of the programs that we work on, it's the typical scenario is we introduce a program like this and it's inevitable that people say, you know what, we don't even have something like that in place. We should get that in place.
Right.
And that always happens, right? It's a value because these programs are not there just to train the leaders or train people to be better managers. The program is also there to surface areas of opportunity that should that business owner choose to take advantage of that or not, that's their choice. But at least those golden nuggets surface for them to see other things and get greater insights into their business.
So essentially the program is also shining a light on the corners of their business.
Absolutely.
To give them clarity, if nothing else.
100%.
So we're training their leaders. We're training them. We're giving them transparency between the levels of leadership so that they know what is working and what isn't. And it's also shining a light in the room that is their business to give them clarity on what is holding them back from where they want to get to.
You bet.
Wow, that's huge.
Yeah, it is.
So now my next question is, if I'm an employee or a leader in the company that's drowning, I don't want to take another thing.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, don't put another thing on my plate. I'm already drowning because I'm in this position. You've either hired me or you've raised me up into this position. I'm drowning. I'm exhausted. I can't take one more thing in my head. How do you address that in a company where the leader's going, oh my gosh, we need to do this, but getting the buy-in from the people that are going to actually be doing the work?
Yeah, we're working with a client right now that has said the exact same thing. right? Both owners said the same thing. And there are two ways we do it, and they work together. First is, what's the current situation of the business, where you're at? Can people afford to do this? If they can't afford to do it, what can they afford to do? So we work very closely to try to build a custom structure for people so it actually works for them. The other component to it is that, for example, we have James, the site super right now, that is really struggling. He's got quite a few jobs going on. He's drowning at the moment. What can we do about that? So we coach the business owner, or owners in this case, give them some a few ideas and suggestions on how to support said James in the field, how to support him, what we can do in the interim as we work through these 12 weeks. Keeping that in mind, and probably a third component, is that we know that James is struggling. We know that this is going to be somewhat of a burden on him, but we've also sorted a few things out to help him. We're also focusing on James throughout the program.
Right.
So we're paying extra special attention to James. It doesn't mean we take away from any other participants. We're focusing on James as well to make sure that he is working through it relatively comfortably, right?
Right.
So extra support in that regard.
So basically, we're bubble wrapping
Yeah.
the people. We want to set the table for them. We teach the business owner that's gung-ho and on board how to set the table for this employee that's drowning, that this is actually us trying to bring you in and support you better. That's why we want you to do this, and we're going to do these things to kind of, okay, that sounds great. I think that's overcomeable then.
Oh, absolutely.
For those people. I don't think that's a reason for somebody to stay in the rat race.
And it's, barring this program, we've done many, many other programs and training programs, and that scenario comes up regularly.
Right.
And we do that regardless. So this program is just more concise, it's more specific and explicit, and it's a feature that's part of this program to make sure we look after people.
So Bruce, you've given us a lot of great knowledge about the system and the training program and how it's all going to structure and look. How does a business owner that might benefit from this program recognize the signs and symptoms to know whether this is for them at whatever stage of business? So we know this is designed specifically for construction on any stage. Beyond that, how does the business identify themselves and self-diagnose that this is something they need?
Absolutely. Well, the first thing I'll say, and I hear it on a regular basis, is that our margins are tight, right? We can't increase pricing because we'll lose out in market share. And the second thing I hear is just crazy busy. I have to go to the field. Sorry, I wanted to meet with you as we scheduled today, but something has come up in the field over and over again, right? And in the more extreme circumstances that we'd have a lost time injury, or even worse, sometimes we've had a fatality. Now, moving a little bit away from those extremes, we look at the symptoms that business owners are experiencing. I have to go to site. I got stuck on site. We are late on a project. We're well over budget. I'm lucky if I just break even on this job. Right? Those are the symptoms of what they experience.
So material usage,
labor, time, all that type of stuff. Right?
Got it.
And the issue is that nothing is going to fix this because this is just the way it happens, right? But what most business owners are blind to, unfortunately, is that they are working way too hard, and the so-called extensions that they have. I hired Bruce to be the site super. I hired Jane to be the site super or foreman. But yet I'm always picking up after them.
Right.
And that's just carries on and on. It's a vicious cycle that continues and nothing ever changes. If business owners want to be building their business or want to continue to build their business, if they're looking to actually have a life and not be dealing with all these symptoms, we've got to get to a point where the managers or the site supers or foremen, whatever you want to call them, site leads, when they actually start to lead and to manage and to do the things that these great business owners do, and probably one of the reasons that that drove them to start their own business, that they can do, once these extensions are able to actually do that, then their business starts to grow. Then they have the ability to start scaling their business because they're not pulled into this on a regular basis. They don't have to work this hard. Just like I would say to the leaders and the managers in this training, you don't have to work this hard. Right. Same for any business owner.
So now I'm the business owner and I'm looking around in the industry and culture. Mm-hmm. Every small business owner in construction that I'm looking at is in the same boat that I am. So what makes you so confident that we can change that strategically? What makes you so confident? Because earlier you said, we need to flip the script. We need to change things because how it's being done isn't actually effective. So how can I be certain when I'm like, if I'm going to pick up the phone and call Bruce, or if I'm going to send an email on the website, but I'm looking around at all of the other business owners going, this is how everybody's doing it.
Yeah. To the best of my knowledge, which I'm pretty confident to say, that training programs, especially for the construction industry, training programs out there are one-dimensional. They provide great content. They provide great knowledge. Unfortunately, the content and knowledge are not impacting the very concerns we have in industry right now, in the construction industry. That's number one. And even if they do provide that, which is far and few in between, the knowledge and using that knowledge, making sure that that knowledge is taken and retained by the participant, by the leader, by the manager, that actually makes a difference to the bottom line is what's needed, which is not available right now. The second part to that is that all of those core areas that this training program focuses on and that impacts are directly related to everything profitability.
Right.
And as I said before to you, Jen, is that this program puts its money where its mouth is. If this program is going to help, it needs to make people more effective. But as any business owner, any construction business owner would say,
got to impact the bottom line.
Bottom line, show me the money.
Right.
Right? And this program will show you the money.
Okay. I don't know how else we could end it any better. I like when Bruce gets creative.
Oh, yeah. Bring it on, baby. Bring it on.
So if you want more information or just have a conversation, see if this is right for you, go to our website at the number 4workplaces.com. So that's 4workplaces.com. Fill out that form. We'll get back to you with some information or to book a time to chat and really look at whether this is something that fits for you. We also just really would love to have a conversation with you.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah,
so,
tell us your troubles. Tell us your worries.
Because we've been there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks, Bruce, for your time today.
Thanks, Jen.
Have a great day, guys.